and welcome to Performance E-Streaming for round 6 of the ANZCAR Xfinity Series Thursday Night Thunder here at the famed Daytona Tri-Oval. With you tonight is myself, Brett Douglas, and with me in the commentary box tonight is Carl Withy. How are you, Carl?
I'm good, thank you, Brett, and yourself?
Very, very good. This should be an exciting night of racing.
Absolutely, and it's nice to have you back in the commentary box with me.
Thank you. I missed not being here last time, but no, you did very well indeed.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I missed you as well. It was a little bit daunting doing it by myself.
It's good, but if I can help it, there'll be no more missing. So tonight we have a bit of a special event on tonight. The race will be called the Wayne Preece Memorial 200 in memory and honour of regular Thunder driver Dwayne Preece's father, Wayne Preece, who passed away recently, unfortunately. So we will do something a little bit special tonight, and we will run a 4-wide formation parade lap in honour of Wayne on the first lap of the race, which, whilst being a spectacle, it will also be a 1-minute silence for us as well, out of honour for Wayne.
Yes, it's sort of the least we can do. It's very sad news, indeed, and heart and condolences go out to the family, of course.
Yeah, of course. Unfortunately, for obvious reasons, Dwayne can't be with us tonight, but in the 777 car, which will still be represented, will be Aaron Dillon, so hopefully Aaron can do Dwayne proud and take the car up front tonight.
Yeah, it would be good to see that getting a good position tonight. It would be a good way to honour the men.
Yeah, it will be. So, so there'll be a 1-minute silence with a parade lap on the first lap, and the cars will reform up, and then they'll get started. So, don't panic if people don't go racing when the lights go green.
That's it. And of course, the 777 car is actually a car that's in honour of his dad. His dad used to race under the 777 number.
He did indeed. He was a real-life racer, Wayne, and sadly, unfortunately, as you said before, the lines is that to I guess at this point we probably should have a look at the point standings and have a bit of a recap. Last round was Chicagoland, where Hayden Dodman took his 3rd win of the season out of 5 races, Carl.
Yeah, it was a great race for Hayden. He did very well at the race. Jason Martin followed him back across the line, very close.
Yeah, which is making for an interesting situation at the top of the table. I mean, we've still got several rounds to go, of course, but these guys they're hard to split. Jason's got 2 wins. Hayden's got 3 wins. Interesting stuff.
That's it. Hayden Dodman sitting on 212 with Jason Martin on 204. It's very close up the top, with Ashley Lear in 3rd place with 191, biting at their heels.
Yeah, not far behind them is Josh Michelmore, Matthew Clute, Edward Foster, Danny G, Chris Purnell, Riley Curtis, and Joshua Carroll Walden rounding out the 10 so far in the championship.
Yes, it really did shake up the championship a bit last race. So we had a fair few people at the start of the race who were on joint points, and we've no longer got any of those in the joint point positions anymore.
No. Well, I guess you would expect it to start to stretch out after a few rounds. This is round 6 of a 13-round series. Daytona, well, I don't know. What can you say about Daytona? It's an interesting place, and usually throws up some pretty interesting surprises.
That's it. Daytona is one of those tracks where anything can happen. You kind of want to be at the front of the pack generally, because you're less likely to get taken out when the big one does occur. And given Daytona, the big one is always going to occur.
Yeah, and the key to this one is not being anywhere near that big one when it does occur. It's going to be interesting to see whether it comes early or a little bit later off a restart maybe, or it's certainly going to be interesting to see how this one plays out, I must say.
That's it, and it could really have some big connotations on the championships. One of the leaders gets taken out in that big crash, and another one sort of manages to stay out of the wreck. Avoiding wrecks on this track is a part of the skill set, really.
Oh, it is indeed. It is indeed. So qualifying's underway, and at the moment we're watching. I believe it's Edward Foster in the 53 car going out on his first lap.
Yep, and of course you want to try and keep the car as smooth as possible on these qualification laps. You've obviously got nobody to give you a tow, so you're just basically trying to keep the steering as smooth as possible so you can keep the speed up. You're going to be getting up to around about 175 to 180 miles per hour on this qualification and up, so just keeping it as smooth as possible, keeping that speed up is really important.
Oh, it is indeed, and yeah, obviously you can go that little bit quicker in the draft, of course, but if you watch Edward here, if we stick with him for his lap, you'll see that he's running the high line on his warm-up lap, and he'll dive down onto the low line as he comes around across the start-finish line to try and give that slingshot effect. And then he probably, I would imagine, will try and stay as tight as he can to that inside yellow line the whole way around, which is generally the quickest. And you don't really lift here, you just, it's boot into it, keep on going.
Yep, flat the whole way around, and of course keeping to the inside line makes the track that a little bit shorter. Not a huge amount, but the shorter you can make the track, the quicker it's going to be.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, just watching him now from the ANZCAR, he's starting to drop down to that inside line, and we'll see if he stays down there like I expect him to, or we make a liar out of him.
Well, I think he'll be hoping to stay down there. If he starts going up to the high line, it's probably going to be a bit of a mistake, unfortunately.
Yeah, one would think so. He's certainly walking that fine line there. You can see him just touching the transition to the flat apron there. You don't want to hook that too hard because you'll find yourself in the wall pretty quick.
That's it. You'll spin the car around with extreme ease, unfortunately, when you start going onto that lower line onto the apron.
Yeah, it just hooks the front left and you just lose control basically. So running a very smooth line here. He's no mistakes at all, which you wouldn't expect from these guys, but still, yeah, coming across the line now.
And looks like we've got a good lap there. It's sort of relatively, I'm sure he'll be relatively happy with that. Of course, won't know until it's all shaken out how well he's done.
No, that's it. There's a few of them still to come out. There's only been a few laps run so far. Where's he sitting now? He's sitting in 6th at the moment, so just trying to have a look now to see if I can see who else is out there at the present time. Everyone I go to have a look at seems to be coming back in. Typically.
Always the way it happens on qualifying.
It is, it is. It's very hard to keep up with who's out there because you don't see all the cars at once, do you? Well,
no, that's it.
Well, we've found Daniel Stevens. He's out there now. Currently sitting in 5th, although it does look like he's on his slowdown. Roger Clark, just have a look and see where he's at on his laps.
Okay.
Looks like Roger's done as well.
Of course, everybody we jump to is heading into the pits, which is just the most common thing to happen when you're doing commentary.
Yeah, we've just picked up Dave Douglas, who looks like he's on a lap at the moment. See where Dave sits. He's this is his first lap. He hasn't recorded a time yet, so we'll watch Dave for a minute. Something I didn't cover earlier on, Carl, was one of the driver movements in the series since Chicagoland was Matthew Clute has moved across from Alliance Motorsports to Middle Finger Racing, which good luck to Matt. Hope it all works out well for him.
Yeah, and that gives Middle Finger Racing relatively quite a few drivers actually in tonight's race, which could be a big advantage for the team. One of the things for Daytona and the super speedways, of course, is teamwork and working with your team to get the draft. So having Matthew in that sort of slot and having an extra driver in there could really be an advantage for that team.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I mean, Matt at the moment is in 5th in the standings too, so he's not exactly slow.
No, he's been having some very good races of late. He's really been up there.
Yeah, he's certainly in contention, that's for sure. So right now we're still watching Dave Douglas. After his first lap, he's sitting in 15th.
And it's always hard to try and get positions up in qualifying on these ovals, because you sort of think there's not much you can really do other than keeping it flat and keeping it low.
Well, that's it, and the times too will be extremely close. You won't see a lot of difference in the times, I would imagine, as we come towards the end of qualifying.
No, that's it. Currently from first to 15th, I think, is around about 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, that's just crazy numbers, isn't it?
It is. It is very, very close racing here at Daytona. And it has been since the start, really. Back in the first ever race of Daytona, Lee Petty won the race with a photo finish, and it took them around about 3 days to actually work out the winner.
I wasn't aware of that. That was back in 1959, wasn't it?
It was indeed, yeah. Lee Petty, also the father of Richard Petty, very famous NASCAR racer.
Yeah, just a little. Of course, before that, they used to run on the Daytona Beach circuit, which included the famous Daytona Beach itself.
Yes, a very cool-looking track back in the day.
It was. Although I'd hate to see the rust problems afterwards, but anyway, I digress.
Nothing like racing on sand and with salt water in the cars. It's always good for them.
Well, yeah. Back then they actually had a little bit of metal too, so I guess that helped as well.
Okay, and Gavin Sadler has just taken first place in the qualifying. He's just come up to number 1 with a 49.523. A very good lap there by him.
Yep, we're just watching Gavin now. So we've still only got about 0.3 of a second separating first through to 17th at the moment, which, wow.
Yeah, there's no time in it at all, really. And that's, as I say, the biggest problem on these speedways is there's not much you can do to really gain that time, because you're pretty much going flat out. It can be something as simple as just getting that turn just a tiny bit quicker, losing a little bit less speed on turn in. Yeah, all of these things make a huge difference.
Oh, they do, and it's a very different prospect driving a qualifying lap here on your own to actually being in a pack and being in a draft of cars. The car feels utterly different. There is no comparison almost. The car's very skittish. You've got to watch things like overheating and things like that. It just takes one person to just get a little bit out of shape, and, well, there you have your big one potentially, right?
That's it, and it's just really keeping your eye on everything. It's a sort of almost a different skill needed for these super speedways over a regular speedway. You have to basically just keep on it constantly, and it's almost a thing of bravery, really.
Well, yeah, I would agree with that. Look, you talk to a lot of guys, and they'll tell you super speedways are about luck. I beg to differ a little bit. Yes, there's a huge element of luck involved, but at the same time, you've got to try and keep yourself in a position where you're not going to fall foul of other people's mistakes too much. Whether that be, sit at the back, let the race come to you, or get out in front, try to stay away from the wrecks. Just basically look ahead of yourself as you're driving. And, yes, luck, but also there's an element of skill there as well, as you say, in just trying to make sure that you can avoid the carnage.
That's it, and anyone that's finished in a top 3 position at this track will let you know that it's all about skill, not luck.
Yeah, well, yes and no. I have a top 3 here, but I won't say it's about skill. I was as surprised as anybody at the end of that one, but anyway, we shan't go there.
No, and qualifying is coming to an end now.
It is. So, Carl, would you like to go through the top 10, I guess?
Yes, so in first place we have Gavin Sadler. Oh wait, yes we do, sorry. My timing was just updating itself there. So Gavin Sadler gets first place for Gavin Sadler Racing, number 71. Just behind him is Michael Callow, with Roger Clark in 4th for Middle Finger Racing. Darren McKenzie in 4th place. With him is Ashley Lear in 5th, with Matthew Cloet in 6th. 7th is Aaron Dillon in the 777. Number 8 is Mitchell McLeod. 9th is Jason Martin. And James Robbie is 10th. That's running out the top 10.
Yeah, great effort by Gavin there, wasn't it? Jackson Callow in 2nd, running under a different name. It's actually Jackson Callow there.
Yes, that's right. Sorry.
That's okay, just to save confusion for anyone out there. But yeah, no, wonderful effort by Gavin. And right now they're just organising to get the formation lap out there so that we can do our 4 wide and minute of silence. But while we're just waiting for that, we'll just finish going through the grid there. You just went through to 10th.
Yeah.
So from 11th, we have Norman Clark. 12th, we have Joshua Carroll Walden. 13th, Daniel Stevens. 14th is Riley Curtis. 15th is Nicholas Walsh. 16th is 17th, Daniel G. 18th, Hayden Dobbin. 19th, Dave Douglas. And in 20th is Edward Foster. Rounding out the field after that is Todd Maxfield, Phil Otto, Josh Mickelmore, Matt Danson, Chris Purnell, Stephen Williams, Mirko Jutanic, and Nicholas Shields. It looks as though the last half a dozen drivers did not set a qualifying time, Carl. Interesting tactic.
Yeah, just keeping it in there. Look, one of the things for this, again, for Daytona is, sometimes you don't want to be at the front because you're going to be using a lot more fuel. When you're running at the front, you basically don't have that big hole punched for you through the air, so you're going to be using up that fuel. So keeping at the back can sometimes help out with fuel mileage. You get to stay out a couple of extra laps, and if we're running a green race, it can mean that you will get to pit under the yellow, of course.
That's it, exactly. So it comes back to what I mentioned earlier about tactics. Do you sit behind? Do you try to get up front? We've got a few different names up the front today too, so it makes for some interesting racing. Good to see Aaron Dillon up there in Dwayne Preece's car in 7th, so he's close up to the front there. So let's see if he can bring that car a bit further forward for the rest of the race. And fairy tale finish maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, would absolutely be a very nice finish for the 777 today, with the being that the race is named after the 777's original driver, Mr. Dwayne Preece. It would be a nice one to actually. Dwayne Preece. It would be nice to actually get that win for the car.
Yeah, it would be. So right now they're sitting behind the pace car. So as they come towards the end of this lap, I believe they'll start to form up. They'll use that next lap to get into a 4 wide formation. Once we have that formation set up, then we'll do a full lap 4 wide and we'll go silent, Carl.
Yes, so it's just getting everyone into position now. So unlike normal, we're actually going to be running that 4 wide, so we won't get the start of the race until after that wrap up.
So while we're waiting for them to finish getting organised, just having a look here to see where a couple of normally familiar names are in relation to the championship, and I see Jason Martin down in 9th. Obviously Jason's the closest at the moment to Hayden Dodman. Hayden's down in 18.
Yeah, with Hayden's position, that's going to be it's going to be a very good. It's a sort of course, there's a long way to go, but he wouldn't have wanted to start down there because it's a very dangerous position to start.
It is, and it could have some dramatic ramifications for the championship points as well if it all goes wrong. Obviously, Matthew Klute's up in 6th, so he's 3rd in the standings at the moment, so he'll be kind of quite happy about that. Ashley Lee is just in front of Matthew Klute, and he's just behind Matthew in the championship, so interesting.
That's it, and we have the formation forming up with the 777 in the lead now.
Yep. So they're just getting a few of the other mid-pack cars in order.
And we will Be going silent very short.
It's not the easiest thing to organise, is strangely enough.
No, it's a very tricky thing to get right, and of course it does throw people out a little bit because it's something that's not normal for their race start, so it may throw a couple of drivers out.
Yeah, that's the thing, and getting it back into starting formation for the first lap, racing lap, will be probably just as chaotic, I suspect.
Yeah, we may be up for a couple of laps just getting everyone set up.
Yes. That's okay. It's, you know, perfectly fine. And if it takes us a few laps to do this, well, so be it. It's in honour of Wayne Preece, and yeah. So just as we come across the start-finish line, we'll go silent. Right, so Carl, reforming now for the start of the race.
See. You can see Wayne Preece there, next to the 777, his car that he used to drive.
Yes.
And we're going to start forming up now. Everybody's going to start forming up to their start position, and we will be going green officially in a few moments. So one of the big things here is to just make sure we don't make a mistake at the start. Of course, you're not going to win the race at the start, but you can absolutely lose it.
Oh yeah, you can. And you know, I guess if you're the car in front, if you're Gavin Sadler or you're Jackson Callow, you want to get a pretty clean, quick one, and most of the fuel to go with them. I can't imagine anybody backing up. It's a pretty quick pace lap here.
Yep. Go.
And looks like a clean start from everybody so far.
Yes, and because of the slight change of start, we have to, of course, say boogity, 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 let's go racing, chaps.
Better late than never.
That's it. Well, I'm contractually obliged to say it. So a good clean start from everybody there. We're going to start seeing people forming up into drafting packs soon.
Yes, and Jackson's taken the lead in the 77 with Darren McKenzie right on him. Looks like everyone's been fairly well behaved back down further in the pack there.
Yeah, it looks like a good clean start from down the rest of the field. Nobody seems to have caused any trouble, so that's always good. And of course now is where you want to just basically slot yourself in behind the car in front, just start basically using that draft. Of course with that you're going to start saving yourself some fuel mileage, but also keeping the speed of your car up.
You are indeed. There's one other consideration though, and that's if you sit in the draft too long, you face a bit of a risk of overheating your car. It's a well-known thing, but you probably see people weaving in and out of the draft at various places just to make sure they can keep their temperatures down.
Yeah, it's an ever impending risk, of course, when you are running in these drafts, and it can be a really big problem for the front runners because they do basically need to keep in that draft position. So you just need to keep the car just slightly out of the draft, so just having that little bit of airflow coming into the radiator, just so you can cool it down a little bit.
Yeah, well, as you can see, it's easily a two-lane track and potentially three in places, but generally through the tri-oval or the back stretch. But yeah, you don't want to try and get too far out of sync here. You just want to kind of sit in the pack and just run with it, and just really try to keep a steady hand on this.
Yeah, that's it. And it's keeping that steady pace, keeping a steady hand, keeping the car nice and balanced. You don't want to be sort of getting it too. You don't want it to get too loose underneath you as well, because it starts getting loose in the corners a little bit. Where you just have to correct it those tiny little bits constantly. You are going to start just wearing the tyres out a little bit quicker than people around you.
Funnily enough, tyre wear's not actually a big problem here, Carl. I mean, obviously they wear, but yeah, you could easily do a full tank on a set of tyres without too many dramas. You may even see some people gamble.
Yeah, I do expect to see a couple of people just not doing those tyre changes. As you say, it's not a big advantage, of course, on this track. There are, of course, some tracks where tyre wear is a much bigger factor. One of the good things about Daytona is it's a relatively it's not exactly a hard.
No, not at all. And gee whiz, tell you, yeah, there's nearly some door banging there with Jackson Callow. That could get ugly fast.
Yeah, we're starting to see people just starting to fall into like free wide occasionally. The front pack is definitely starting to get into a position where they might want to go free wide through. People are just getting a little bit of extra speed coming out the corners.
Yeah, Yeah, and you'll find people wanting to drop down into that low line too, right? That's something that you'll find a lot of the jostling, and unless someone from the outside there can get a couple of good runners with them and try to pick up a little pace, but generally that low lane will be the way to go.
That's it. The low lane is always the best lane to be in, because of course it makes the track that tiny bit shorter for you. But we just see.
I'll just remind the viewers out there too that we will see this a little bit sooner than what you might on the feed. We're watching it live off iRacing. The feed has a slight delay on it, so we'll try to keep it in line with the broadcast. But yeah, if we call something a little bit sooner than you see it, don't be alarmed. That's why.
That's it. Hopefully it shouldn't be too much issue, because we are hopefully going out with the feed at the moment rather than sort of catching it just on the off section. Of course, with our first race back at Sonoma, we were basically running it off of the feed, so there's a little bit of it was a little bit harder than before, but hopefully we won't have too much trouble now. Jackson Callow there was definitely trying to get ahead.
You can see though how hard it is to make that breakaway. You've got two full lanes there. Everybody's drafting with each other, and they're kind of just keeping up with each other. So, and there's no real breaks for anyone up top either to try and drop down low.
No, and that's the problem is you can't really do much in those positions. With these cars with the restrictor plates, of course, on them, they sort of they run out of horsepower quite quickly in those sort of positions. As soon as you get a break from the hole in the air, you realise just how much the engine is lacking in horsepower compared to other tracks.
Yeah, that's the thing, and I mean, I suppose when you're doing, nigh on 190 mile an hour here, yeah, it's or 310 kilometres an hour in our speed. Yeah, you've got to be rather careful and calculated about how you do this, don't you?
You do. That's it. When you're looking at these cars on the track, it doesn't look like they're going as fast as they are. They do look like they're going a lot slower than they're actually going, and it's a strange thing. You look at these cars going around, you forget that they're going almost kilometres over, almost 190 miles per hour at some points.
Yeah, it's to think 2.5 tons of metal basically. I mean, I understand this is a virtual world, but the dynamics of it all is still set up to react the same way. And yeah, it's quite amazing to think they can do those speeds around here, isn't it?
That's it. And Jackson Callow there has just got ahead. He's just managed to push himself into the lead there, and he's just falling in front now, taking the lead. Sorry.
Darren McKenzie, yes.
Darren McKenzie. There we go.
He's finally got down there in front.
Sorry, I had the wrong car on my screen. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. It's hard to keep up with them sometimes.
It is.
So it looks like now that Jackson will probably try to give McKenzie a little bit of a... Oh, he's clever out!
This is going to cause a mess. And a lot of cars have been caught out there. The big one has come early.
Yeah, it has. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Quite a few cars are damaged in that.
Yeah, I think it's simply a case of a little bit of maybe inexperience or over-exuberance in the draft, and yeah, Jackson's just got up underneath of McKenzie and just turned him around.
Yeah, it just looked like he just caught the underneath there and just spun him just around at the worst possible point. So that is a real big shame there.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get a replay of that up on the screen and maybe go through what actually happened there.
Yes. Feed for that one, so we might just be a little bit out of sync for the comms. But there are quite a few cars damaged.
Who's some of the guys?
Yeah, he's just caught the edge, and one car just went absolutely flying there. Try and see who that was. And a lot of people darting into the pits now, of course.
I would imagine pretty much everyone will. They'll put some fuel in the car if they didn't get damage. Of course, that as with damage, we'll be in the pits to assess that and see how bad it is, whether they can continue. You may even see some duck in and out a couple of times just to save trying to go down a lap. Of course, under a pace car, it's well over a minute each lap, but still, you still need to be very mindful of that. Any repairs you can get now will be valuable later.
That's it. There's going to be a lot of repairs needed for these cars. There's quite a lot of bodywork damage to pretty much at least quarter of the field.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit difficult at the moment to see who is actually damaged and who isn't. I'm trying to actually go back through here now and see who's actually in the pits to give us a better idea of who was unfortunate enough to get caught up in this. I'm just trying to go back through now.
Yeah, it's going to be hard working out who was caught up in that for a little bit of time.
Well, Jackson Callow and Darren McKenzie, I can assure you of that, but I'm pretty sure several after that were as well.
Yes, I'm pretty sure I could see Roger Clark had quite a bit of damage to his car as well. Aaron Dillon looks like he's sticking in the pits. There's quite a few people with some very heavy damage out there. So James Foster is another one that got caught up in that quite badly. He took a rather big bump to the car.
Pole sitter Gavin Sadler, he's just coming back out now. He looks like he's pretty damaged. Jackson Callow, yeah, they're trying to save going down a lap.
Roger Clark as well.
Darren McKenzie. Looks like most of them have at least gone back out now. Whether that's in a good state or a bad state remains to be seen, I suppose, doesn't it?
That said, it's going to be, with that damage on the car, it's going to make the car an absolute pig to drive. If they can get quite a bit of it repaired, that will sort of put them into good stead. But of course, there can always be another crash here. So being out on the track, even a few laps down, can be good. It can mean you can get some points at least.
Yeah, I'm just having a look through the pits here now, and you got Mitch McLeod. His car looks pretty bad. So does Darren McKenzie's. James Foster looks like he's got a fair bit in there. Aaron Dillon in Dwayne Preece's car. Unfortunately, that car looks very second-hand.
Yeah, I'm trying to see who. There was one car that actually did a full pirouette in the air. So. Still trying to work out who that was, but there was some serious damage done to that person.
Yeah. Well, that certainly changes the complexion of things early on. 80 lap race. We're how many laps in now? 15. Yeah, we've got Norman Clark at the head of the queue, with surprise, Ashley Lear beside him. Joshua Carroll Walden, Jason Martin, Matthew Clute, two of the championship protagonists.
That's it, and we're going back to green.
We're just coming up now.
And Norman Clark is in the lead by the looks of things. It looks like he's got a fair bit of damage to the rear of the car.
Yeah, it may not hurt him too much though. You know, as long as the front of that car is okay, he should be okay.
That's it. The rear of the car is not too important here, thankfully.
Yeah, the rear spoiler gives you a little bit of downforce, but yeah, it's more like a gurney flap than a spoiler, really, especially on a track like this.
So we've got the cars forming back into the little packs again at the front. Roger Clark in the lead, with Ashley Lear just falling down to third place.
Yeah, we're on board here with Joshua Carroll Walden. He's trying to give Norman a bit of a push by the looks of it, to see if they can break away a little bit, maybe.
That's it, and perhaps that's what they were. The drivers before were trying earlier on when they had that spin, was trying to get that little bit of bump draft going. Bump drafting, of course, is where you basically push the car in front of you along a little bit faster, and it's a bit of a dangerous tactic, but it can pay off very well if you get it right.
It can, but as we just saw on lap 14 it was, you get it all very wrong as well if you're not careful, and the car in front has to have a lot of faith in the guy behind not to overdo it. When you're actually in the draft up behind it on a car like that, you find yourself, you can almost get as far as half lifting off the throttle car. You don't keep your foot into it, and unfortunately it looks like Jackson may have just forgotten that before.
Yes, that's it. It's very easy to do. It's very easy to just get sucked up behind the car in front and just get too much speed.
It is, and you pick up enormous momentum behind the car in front as well, and that's how you give them the bump draft. It's just using the air to push each other forward and break that air. If you can get 3, 4, 5 cars doing it effectively, you'll pull away.
That's it. Jason Martin is on the move again now. He's currently sitting in 4th place. Looks like he managed to avoid the crash and carnage there.
Jason Martin's always there, isn't he? He's
That's
always there, or he's thereabouts.
And Hayden Dodman as well managed to avoid the carnage as well by the looks of things. He's currently sitting in 8th place.
I would imagine that's given a few of them a bit of a scare. You might find that they're a little bit more careful for a little while, but of course, as the mist returns and the nerves settle back down after that one, you'll find a few will start to get a little bit racy, I think.
Yes, absolutely. That's one of those things. Is you sort of sometimes yellows can breed more yellows. That's one of the big problems in motorsport. Is when you get one yellow flag and another yellow flag can come out quite quickly afterwards, just because the cars aren't up to temperature. But generally, people will be a little bit more cautious at those restarts, especially after a big crash like that. People are sort of thinking, well, it's very early in the race. There's no point pushing it. But of course, once they start getting back in, they start getting confident. Sometimes you do get a little bit overconfident driving. It happens to the best of us, and you just make that little mistake, and all it takes is one little mistake when you're going at these speeds, and as we've seen just before, the big one can happen.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, Darren McKenzie, that car looks awful, doesn't it? What a shame. He was running very well at the front there, and just being very polite and getting out of the way of the pack. So
yeah, he's going to be dropping quite a bit. It looks like there's a fair amount of damage to the car. He can't really get the speed, and of course, if he's struggling that much, he might just need to come in and just pull it over for the rest of the race. Just because you do become a bit of a danger, of course, when you're running that slow.
Yeah, good thing is though, it's a big wide open track, and most of these guys are they're pretty good. They won't get in each other's way.
No, that's it. And as long as you keep out the way of the pack, and you know what you're doing, it's not too bad. Again, we do say, you've got to be in the race, and you've got to finish it to get the points, and even finishing low down in a race like this where there can be a lot of people dropping out, you can still make some good points for the championship.
Yeah, you can, and you've got to remember too, we're on lap, 21 of 80, so, I mean, it's a long way to go. We're a quarter of the way. You just need to get yourself to be in a position to be there in those last sort of 10, maybe 15 laps tops, because that's when you're going to find everyone's going to get very, very racy.
Yes, and those last 15 laps are the scary laps when you're up front. Of course, sometimes it's not the best place to be leading this race at the end. You generally want to sort of be second or in that draft, because sometimes you can get a really good run and actually get the win, snatch it away from the person that's leading the race.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how people play this, to be honest, because it's all about strategy. As you say, you'd probably rather be in second and try and get that run on somebody going into the last turn. So it'll be interesting to see whether somebody tries to run away with it, whether you see actually even some teammates maybe team up together. There's still a couple of them out there. It's got a long way to go, and at the moment they're running fairly well behaved. We've still actually got 2 wide here, which is, I would have thought they'd maybe start to string out a bit by now, but no, they're all just going for it.
Yeah, they're keeping in a good spot right now. The pack's sort of formed nice and close back together again. Of course, you sometimes think, it's very brave to get back into a pack race like this after a big crash like that. but it's what you want to do. Being too wide again is it's good because it's good for the racing, but it is going to start to maybe fatigue some of the drivers, because there's a lot more concentration needed when you're running to the side of somebody and behind them.
Yeah, you can't downplay the effect of side draft and the way the air works around these cars. And you can see they're keeping a fair distance from each other, but what I'm finding interesting at the moment is to see the outside lane actually seems to be moving quicker than the inside.
Yeah, the outside lane does look like the better lane at the moment. The cars are looking a little bit... Looks like the cars are enjoying that outside lane a little bit more as well as getting the extra speed. And sometimes that can be the way. It's not always the inside lane that is the fastest. Sometimes, as the track evolves, sometimes, you know, even on the day, things like that can change how the track's going to run.
Yeah, but it also changes throughout the race too, as the track temperature changes, and you know the cars running around and all that sort of stuff. Ambience change. Yeah, the grip levels change from almost lap to lap. But yeah, it's. Just having a look here, we've had some pretty good movers. I mean, you look at Norman Clark here leading the race. I mean, he's up 10 positions. Phil Otto back in 6th, he's moved up 16. Todd Maxfield, he's up 14 positions. Hayden Dobman's up 10 positions. Edward Foster up 11. Yeah, that's certainly shaken up the field somewhat.
It has indeed, and as we sort of start getting the cars moving, sort of falling into positions, we can start seeing who was seriously affected by that smash. So it looks like some of the big losers in that race.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest losers out of this were probably Jackson Callow, Darren McKenzie, James Foster, Gavin Sadler's still in the pits, Roger Clark's still in the pits. Aaron Dillon, unfortunately, is in the pits as well still, and Mitchell McLeod. So
yes, very unfortunate for that. We were hoping for a good race there, but sometimes the racing gods are not always with the car that you want.
No, unfortunately. Still, we've got a great race ongoing now, and yeah, there's probably about 15 cars in this lead pack here. They've dropped the pack behind them. They're all very well behaved, though. I must admit, they're not exactly pushing and shoving too much. You've got Phil Otto's looking fairly aggressive there in 5th place, I should say, in the number 1 car.
Yeah, they're really being sort of very polite to each other at the moment. So sometimes, of course, you can get that little bit of paint rubbing and stuff like that on these super speedways, which is always a fun thing to do at over 190 miles per hour. But the cars are definitely sort of falling into position, and right now is where you sort of want to be sort of towards the middle of that pack sort of end, because you're going to be able to save a little bit of fuel. Running at the front, of course, you do get the clean air, so at least your car is going to be nice and cool, but you are punching a big hole in the air, and with that you do tend to get a bit more drag and thus sort of use a little bit more fuel.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? You can save quite a bit of fuel actually in the draft here. The leaders, yeah, as you say, are punching the air. If you can save, you know, half a lap to a lap before your first pit stop, I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it still equates to, you know, a few hundredths, if not a second or more of time saved in the pits, and that could be just enough. I mean, we're talking hundreds of seconds here in differences in times, and you know that you only need that hundredths or a thousandths of a second to get over the line first, don't you?
That's it, and it's amazing the difference. You know, if you can save half a second of refueling time, you're going to make a big leap up on the track. Because currently, with the sort of top drivers, there's not much between them. There's around about there's less than a second gap between the car in first and where are we?
Well, there's only a couple of hundredths between the top sort of 8 at the moment.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they're very close together at the moment.
Well, this onboard here gives you a great view. Spoiler cam gives you a great view of what it's like to sit behind another car. Obviously, the driver's seeing a little bit higher than that, but I mean, well, there you go. You don't get much closer than that, do you?
And that's pretty much the bump there, is just getting nice and close, just pushing that car in front of you a little bit further forward, giving them an extra bit of horsepower.
That's
and
one way to put it.
Yeah, that's it. You just got to be very careful doing it, but if you trust the guy behind you and you trust the guy in front of you, you can absolutely make some big positions doing that.
Yeah, you get the feeling you've just got a little bit of time biding here, don't you? It's all a little bit too orderly for me.
Yeah, everybody is just sort of holding back a little bit at the moment. Of course, we will see things get a little bit more dicey when people start getting a bit of a sniff for position.
Yeah, a few of these guys have been around a while, Carl. They know when to show their cards and when not, and they're just sitting there, they're just waiting, they're just watching, they're waiting to see if someone else is maybe driving a little bit harder into things and, you know, suffering a little bit of wear or a bit of fatigue, or, yeah, to me it's a waiting game at the moment by the looks of it.
Yes, it's often is the case on these super speedways. It is all about waiting. It's keeping the cards close to you, not showing sort of your weaknesses, because as soon as you do show that weakness, the drivers will jump all over it.
Yeah, I'm just kind of cycling back through the field here to have a look at some of the cars further back in the field here to see. Most of these cars look like they've managed to avoid most of the damage, actually. Not many of them look too damaged at all, so that would explain why they're dropping off everybody else.
Yeah, I think there was quite a few people got very lucky in that crash, although a fair few cars did get caught up in it. Not as many as you would expect did. A lot of people managed to avoid the wreck, which was good. Usually a wreck at the front like that could really lead to almost most of the field being wiped out.
Yeah, well, interestingly, we're watching Ashley Lee just take the lead now from Norman Clark. He's dropped out of the low lane, and he's left poor old Jason Martin there out to dry, actually. Hopefully Jason can get a bit of a push from Phil Otto.
A little bit of a wobble there by Norman Clark.
Yeah, it was a wobble, wasn't it?
It was. That was definitely a moment where you would have taken a deep breath. And the car does look like it's a little bit of a handful for him. The number 8 there is just wobbling around the track a little bit. Maybe just in that dirty air, it's not handling as well as it was when it was out front.
Yeah, you'll probably find too that Norman Clark's just trying to readjust to being in craft now after being out on his own for so long, and the car will handle a lot differently, very much more skittish. But it looks as though Jason Martin's got a nice little helping hand out there from Phil Otto and Todd Maxfield Blizzard, I think it is, number 7. Yes,
number 7. And we're starting to get just passing some of the cars a few laps down as well, and that basically they're running on the low line, which is causing the low line just to have to shift up a little bit occasionally, which might just be costing them a little bit of time through the lap.
Yeah, it shouldn't cause too many problems, but you know,
just running pretty wide, and it looks like Jason Martin's just falling a little bit behind.
Yeah, have we got a third lane developing here, or is this is this time to start holding the butt cheeks a little bit clenched, Carl?
It is a little bit, and Phil Otto and the car number 7 there just running into the wall there in that third lane.
Yeah, 3 wide was never going to work long term, was it?
No, it's never a good idea when you're running 3 wide. If you can get it working, then good for you, but it's not going to last too long. It's too easy to make a mistake, especially running that close to the wall.
Shouldn't do too much damage. It was just a glancing blow, and those safer barriers don't tend to do a lot of damage if you just glance them. It may have just taken a slight edge off their top speed, but it looks like they're all pulling back in again now, so it didn't have too much of an impact on them, luckily.
No, they were lucky not to have too much of a problem there. Of course, you don't want to be scratching the side because the sponsors don't like it.
No, you don't want to take the name off, do you?
You do get a few people frowning about that sometimes. And Jason Martin's now fighting for the lead with it's like Phil Otto.
Yeah, I'm watching the stream feed, and yeah, it's certainly changing around a little bit. Phil Otto's got himself back into a nice little position there, hasn't he?
He has, yes. There's definitely some chopping and changing going on. The cars are sort of... There's not much difference between that low line and the high line at the moment. It looks like the low line has actually got it better going around sort of the first couple of corners, and then towards the last two corners, the high line seems to have it slightly better. And of course, that's something that can happen on these 2.5 mile tracks.
Yeah, if you can get turns 3 and 4 right, you actually get a good slingshot down into the tri-oval there, and that's where you really want to pick it up. But something I'm finding interesting here is you've actually got a couple of teammates here, the usual suspects at the front here. You got Ashley Lear and Hayden Dodman trying to work out, obviously, how to get together here. I'm just watching right now as Hayden Dodman pushes Jason Martin, and Ashley Lear's pushing Phil Otto.
Yes, sometimes you get some strange friendships working out on these ovals, just trying to get yourself into a different position.
And there goes Hayden down in behind Ashley Lear. Surprise, surprise.
That's it, and he's got himself in a good position now. Of course, with the team talking, they're going to be working together and doing their best to try and push themselves up to the lead.
And you can just see there how instantaneous Jason Martin starts to drop back very quickly. He's got Todd Maxfield right behind him there to probably give him a bit of a push, but yeah, it's easy to lose that momentum real fast. He's just dropped back down into, what, 4th, 5th?
Just around about 4th now, he's sitting in. And that's the thing, is once you get sort of hung out on that line, you just drop back so quickly. And it's really just trying to keep into that position where you can just sort of keep the speed up, of course, and keep in a safe spot.
Yeah, it's... I'm also wondering how many of these guys might be working together too. I fully expect that obviously Dodman and Lear are working together, but yeah, I don't know if there's any alliances out there, shall we say. There's a whole bunch of guys that are part of teams that are small or they're on their own. Yeah, it'd be interesting to know how many of them had a bit of a talk before the race to see if they'd work together, actually.
That's it. It's times like this where being a sort of a lone wolf, so to say, being not part of one of the big teams or being sort of part of an alliance or something like that can really hinder you. You just have to wonder with Jason Martin there being sort of not aligned with anyone per se, if that's going to affect him come later in the race.
Well, maybe. I mean, him and Tom Maxwell seem to be working okay there together now. I have a sneaking suspicion that Ashley Lear and Hayden Dodman are probably looking for a way to get past Phil Otto and maybe work together to pull away. I mean, we've got how many cars up here in the lead pack right now? We've got, what,
9 or 10, I think.
Yeah, so we've got quite a pack there still at the front. And what have we got? We've actually got about 16 cars there in total, but yeah, the last sort of 7 or 8 are a little bit strung out right now, but they're still there.
That's it. They're just running in that single line formation at the moment, which is a good thing to do, of course. It's just going to mean that you just get that little bit of fuel saving going on. Again, you don't really want to be too far at the front at this stage of the race. There's still a long way to go.
Well, yeah, it's lap 41 of 80, so we've just passed the halfway mark.
And there's we've got somebody going sideways.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see who that was.
Car 35 it was. Joshua Carroll Walden, by the looks of things.
Okay, where are they going into turn 3? No, I actually think it was Todd Maxfield. I'm just going back to have a look now.
Okay.
So we'll see if we can get a replay up here and we can try to get an idea of what happened here. Let's slow it down a little, actually. Right, okay. So, looks like bit unfortunate that.
Yeah, it was just running in that pack, and it looks like he just got a little bit loose.
Looks like they tried to go 4 wide into 3, and Norman Clark and Joshua Carroll Walden just touched.
Yeah.
That sent Carroll Walden up into Todd Maxfield, and of course he had nowhere else to go but the fence, and off he went. Yeah.
It did well to keep it sort of from going too far off there. It could have been a lot worse than it was. He did really well to keep the car running sort of somewhat straight.
He did. He didn't cause a big one. Everyone did very well to avoid him as well. He's got a little bit of damage there, but whether it's anything that he can't drive with remains to be seen. But yeah, it was just a little bit messy, that one. 4 wide into 3. I don't think that's probably an ideal line.
No, you can sometimes run 4 wide here, but it's not a smart thing to do. It's a bit of a brave thing to do, but you've got to be very careful. And of course, we're going to see everybody start jumping into the pit lane now.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind betting they'll top off with fuel, get them to the end. I'm just having a look. Todd Maxwell has a little bit of damage to the car. It doesn't actually look too bad. Not as much as I thought there would be after being sandwiched up against the wall, but you know, he looks like he's continuing on. And Roger already had that little bit of rear damage from the first incident on lap 14, from the big one that we've had. He looks to be okay as well. So yeah, that was lucky, Carl. Very, very lucky for a lot of people. That could have been a lot worse.
It was indeed. You know, it could have been a nasty one there. There was a few minor bumps and scrapes, but nothing too big.
We should be grateful, I guess, that we didn't have a you know, like a 20-car pack happening at the time. That would have been a repeat of lap 14.
Yes, it would have been very nasty. And Jason Martin gets out in the lead from those pit stops. And we'll just wait for everything to start settling itself down now.
Yeah, I think we've had a couple of cars stay out. We've had one car, Mirko Dortonak.
Yes.
So, you know, I'm sure he'll come in after this lap, I would imagine. I can't see that he would stay out there because he'll just get swallowed up, and of course he'll run out of fuel in the not too distant future as well, because we've had quite a stint of green lap running since the last yellow.
That's it. He could possibly gamble on getting another yellow in the next sort of 5-10 laps. It's a big gamble to take, but if it pays off, it could work out very well for him.
Yeah, no. No, I don't think so. I think you'll find that he's going to have to come in. Not quite sure why he's trying to stay out, but anyway. No, he's coming out. Yeah. I didn't think he could stay out there. We've got Jackson Callow coming back in as well.
Going to get a few people just darting in, just getting some of that damage repaired, of course.
Yeah, that's the thing. And if you have a look who's in there, you know, Darren McKenzie, Jackson Callow, a few of the guys that got caught up in that first one, that's exactly what's happened. But at the head of the field, surprise, surprise, we have Jason Martin.
Yes, and as usual, everything's working out well for Jason Martin. You know, again, it speaks highly of his driving talents, because just managing to keep it out of trouble, he always manages to find a way to sneak it up to the front as well.
Oh, he does. He's always there or thereabouts, as we said earlier, and you know, all credit to him. He's really just a gun driver at the moment. He's been on form for quite a while, and yeah, he doesn't show any signs of slowing down. Great effort by Phil Otto to be in second. You quite often see Phil there, sort of in the top 10, top 15, sometimes battling up front. But yeah, great effort by Phil. He's managed to avoid a couple of the incidents today. Yes,
he's managed to keep it out of the wall and keep it out of trouble. Made up about 20 positions at the moment, so not a bad result for him at all currently. Hopefully he can sort of keep it there until the end of the race.
Yeah, car looks good in the paint too for DPR Benmax, sorry. I can't recall Phil running this paint last time. I could be wrong, but I've got a funny feeling this might be a new team for Phil, but correct me if I'm wrong out there, anybody.
Yeah, I don't recall it from my memory last time. It's an absolutely lovely paint job.
It looks good. Behind Phil, we've got Ashley Lear and then Hayden Dodman. Again, two of the championship protagonists. Obviously, they want to keep in touch with Jason Martin, don't they? That's a no-brainer. And Matthew flew right behind him. So we've got all of basically the top 5 in the top 4 of the top 5 in the top 5 right now. Gee, that's hard to say.
It's a bit of a tongue twister.
It is. So at the moment, championship standings: Jason Martin, Ashley Lear, Hayden Dodman, and Matthew Clute are all up there. So we've had a couple of movers though. Chris Purnell is up in 8th. He started from the back of the pack. Didn't put in a qualifying lap, if I remember rightly. 17 places, that's not bad. Edward Foster, he's in 6th currently. He sort of looked to be caught up in that lap 14 mess, but he looks to have got through that one pretty well, and currently sitting in 6th now after those stops.
Yeah, he should be happy with that, hopefully. Of course, just avoiding that early crash was a big advantage there.
Well, that's the thing. Having said that, though, safety cars breed safety cars, and right now we've got the whole pack bunched up again. And yeah, we've got how many cars here all lined up? Probably 21 cars. It should be interesting. Yeah,
around about the 2021 mark, and they're going to be very close. And of course, there's a few cars sort of sitting in that pack that have got a bit of damage still. They're running a little bit slower than some of the others, so that can affect it, of course.
Yeah, well, the lights are out on the safety car, so as you come around, the safety car will peel off, and we'll be back to racing again. Let's just hope they can all keep their heads about them and keep it clean for a little while.
That's it. Hopefully we'll get some good clean running to the end.
Will Jason run or won't he run? This will be the question.
That's it, and he's getting a bit of a pull away there.
Yeah,
he's pulling away just a bit from Phil Otto. With Ashley Lear sitting nice and close behind him. And it looks like we've got a clean restart from everybody. So hopefully they can keep that all the way around.
Yeah, Mark was always going to try to pull away, wasn't he?
He was, it's the best option, really.
So, looks like we've got Ashley Lear dropped in behind him right now. And who's that? Is that...
Phil Otto's just running the high line at the moment with car number 54.
Edward Foster. No, sorry, Matthew Clute.
Yes. Yeah, 53 is Edward Foster, I believe.
It is. Easy to forget.
That's it. Too many numbers in this field.
Wow. Yes.
Doesn't make it easy, unfortunately. Okay, and the front runners are filling up nicely back into the packs. We're running on the high and low line, and the high line's still giving out some good performance by the looks of things. Phil Otto is just keeping there. He's just sitting just behind Ashley Lear.
Yeah, I'm just trying to sort of have a look at a couple of numbers here. I'm not entirely certain they can make it to the end on fuel, Carl.
No, I think they're going to be struggling, especially you might find a couple of people in the pack might be able to just squeeze it through on fuel. People were saying to me that they're looking around about 35 to 40 laps currently, sort of if they're running green. So you might find a couple of people in the midfield getting close to that, but I think the front runners are going to need to get a splash and dash before the end of this race.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I don't know. It's going to be close. There's 30 laps to go, 31 laps to go, and if you're running up front, you're burning a lot more fuel. And yeah, I don't know.
It will be very interesting. And of course, some drivers just have that magical ability just to sort of save fuel, which is a great skill to have. I'm sort of reminded of Scott Dixon in IndyCar. He can just pull fuel out of nowhere.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, and yeah, just watching Ashley Lear up behind Jason Martin, and yeah, he's given him quite a push here at times, and kind of shades of lap 14.
Yeah, they're definitely running close. It's a dangerous game to play, but it can pay off for them for sure. Phil Otto's just dropped back quite a lot now. The top line is definitely falling behind. Hayden Dodman's actually dropped into the lower line already, sitting behind car number 64.
Yeah, as soon as he... Whoa, okay, so
and
Ashley Lear has just lost a motor. In the draft, he's just overheated and lost his motor.
And that is a big shame for Ashley Lear. He's going to be very upset about that, I'm sure.
He will be shattered with that, Carl. Remember earlier I said, would it be a factor? Well, there you go. It's just taken one of the top runners out of this race. That's it.
And of course, engine troubles are something that you can never plan for, but it's something that you've really got to try and avoid. And just running in this pack formation in the hot air of everybody else, it is a very dangerous game to play, but you've got to do it. You don't really have any other choice. You've just got to gamble sometime.
That's why a lot of people say they don't like the super speedways and restricted plate racing and so on. You know, it's... Yeah, well... Wow, that's a big shame for Ashley. That's going to take some points off him tonight. Still a lot of rounds to go, but yeah, huge shame. Huge shame.
Yeah, well, it's better to finish in the points than not to finish. That's the big thing. And it's a real shame for him. He was running really well. He's running a very good race so far, as is normal for Ashley Lear actually, all season.
And we have
and Jason Martin's just gone round.
Oh, Stephen Williams. Hayden Dodman. Oh, no.
And that is a big one. We have just lost most of the front pack there.
Nicholas Walsh. Who else is involved here? Roger Clark. Oh, no.
Oh, that was a big one. Looks like Edward Foster got very lucky there. Just watching that again as Jason Martin came down.
Yeah, Stephen Williams. Wow, there's a few guys there that didn't need that, did they? Dave Lucas, by the looks of it.
That's wiped out some of the front runners as well. That's going to be a big hit for the championship. It's going to help Ashley Lear, of course. That's good news for him. Unfortunately, it's not so good for many of the other front runners.
No, it's we'll get a replay up here on the screen, and we'll try and slow it down a little if we can, and just see what actually happened there.
Yeah,
did Matthew Clute just get up underneath Jason Martin? Or
I'm not too sure. It just looked like he just lost it going through the corner. It's just the car just looked to just go sideways. So I'm imagining he just got a little bit of a tap. So we'll wait to see if we can get that replay running.
Yeah, I'd like to see if Matthew Clute actually got up underneath the rear end of Jason Martin and turned him around there, because it seemed to have shades of what happened earlier between Jackson Callow and Darren McKenzie. So
yes,
they are just coming up now into turn... Heading up into turn 3 here. So we're trying to watch car 21 here.
And yeah, it just looks like he just got a bit of a tap from behind, and the car just completely lost control, and yeah, big one there. A lot of cars just went into each other, wiping out the rear end of that field.
Looks like Matthew Clute, yeah, just caught the inside of the transition down onto the apron and just unloaded Jason there, unfortunately. Oh, what a shame.
That is a real shame for the race. It's definitely changed things up a bit, and of course many people have darted in for a pit stop. A couple of people have actually stayed out.
Yeah, I think a few of them think they're going to be quite fine on fuel. So right now, so Matthew Clute actually survived all of that, and is sitting in second place in the train right now behind the safety car.
Yeah, it almost worked out well for him there, and it looks like Todd Maxfield's actually got the lead.
Yeah, at the moment he has, yeah. I'm guessing, if I have a look here, the top 5, right back to Dave Douglas, all stayed out, none of them pitted.
And a lot of those people were running quite far down the pack, so they might just have enough fuel to get through to the end. A little bit of a gamble possibly, but they may just be running on fumes towards the last lap. But it could be a very good thing for them. It could possibly get them much higher than they were expecting.
Yeah, well, here's an interesting scenario. They might all have fuel to get to the end, but everyone from 5th backwards or 6th backwards are all on fresh tyres. Everyone else has got 11-lap old tyres.
Yes, and although tyres are not a huge advantage here, the fresher rubber will just help that speed a little bit. And will just help you run on that outside line possibly. It will just give you that little bit more grip, a little bit more speed.
Yeah, well, 10, 11-lap old tyres over fresh tyres. I know which one I would have chosen, and you wouldn't have gone down a lap. I guess they're thinking track position, but well, then again, having said that, this field's thinning out pretty rapidly as well, isn't it?
It is, yes. We've lost quite a few cars now. Sort of just looking down the grid, there's a lot of people that are disappearing, and many people are sort of running quite a few laps down as well.
Yeah, it's well, there's been a few shakers and movers, and if you have a look here, it's people that started from the rear of grid.
Yeah, that's it. As we said before, it's not always the best place to be up front at this track. You know, many of the people that started very close to the front are now no longer in the race. You know, they've lost a lot of positions, lost the race, taken out of the race. So it sort of goes to say you almost don't want to start at the front on this track.
No, I'm just having a look here now to see where everyone's sitting now. So we've got Todd Maxfield at the front. We've got Matthew Kloop in second, James Robbie in third, Edward Foster in fifth, Dave Douglas in sixth, Phil Otto in sixth, Chris Purnell in seventh, Norman Clark's dropped back to eighth, Josh Michelmore in ninth, Joshua Carroll Walden's hanging in there in 10th after his earlier incident. Having said that though, well, the top 17 are still on the lead lap, just.
Yes, you know, we still got a race to go here. There's still going to be quite a bit of racing happening from now on, but it's not with the usual players.
No, it's not. Well, you got Matthew Kloot up there. Yeah, he's a regular up there, and you got Chris Pennell moving in on these guys as well. He's also one of the usual suspects that's up front, somewhere thereabouts. Edward Foster, he's no slouch either. Where else have we got here? Hayden Dobbin down in 15th. Wow.
Yeah. The championship leaders have really taken a knock with that accident. It took out pretty much the top of the championship there. It's almost like since once Ashley Lear's engine let go, just everything just went wrong for the top of the championship leaders.
Wow, they're going to call this the curse of Daytona, aren't they?
They are indeed.
Alright, so the lights are out on the safety car. So we'll be going green any moment. Safety car's pulling off.
And we are back to green.
Yeah.
And Todd Maxfield there gets a very poor start.
And lets Matthew Kloot run away on the outside line. Will he drop down inside? I would think so, yes.
James Robbie there just got a bit of a touch on the back of Todd Maxfield. He just sort of went into the back of him a little bit hard. Edward Foster there on the outside in second place.
Yeah, it was just a bit of a messy restart, wasn't it? It looked like Todd Maxfield just bogged down a little bit, I think.
It's something that is easy to do, and Edward Foster's just taking the lead, with Phil Otto just on the outside line.
And Todd Maxfield's dropped to the outside line for some reason. He's actually dropping back slowly. He's lost the immediate draft of Dave Douglas, which is not what you want to happen. He's dropping back quite quickly here, actually. That
car looks very slow, doesn't it? He's really dropping back.
Doesn't have a lot of damage on it, so I'm surprised actually. I'll keep an eye on that one. But back up in front, yeah, we've got Edward Foster now in the lead. with Matthew Clute right in behind him. So obviously Matthew turned Jason Martin around from the lead a few laps ago. Let's hope that we don't have a repeat.
Yes, that's it. We don't want to see anyone else turning around. It would be nice if we got some green flag racing to the end of this, to the end now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Phil Otto's just sitting on the outside line at the moment, and is keeping up there relatively well. That outside line has driven well pretty much all race so far.
Yeah, it has. It doesn't seem to have been a difference between the inside and the outside line, does it? If you could get the draft and you got someone to help you there, it seems like, yeah, there was no real speed difference. Okay,
and the cars are looking a little bit squirrely out there, actually. Just looking at some of the cars going through the corners, they're just looking like they're having a little bit of trouble keeping them on the line. Just coming towards the end of the race, of course, the cars are going to be a little bit sort of lighter, and there's a bit more rubber on the ground. Also, fatigue is a big thing that comes to play at these sort of races as well.
Well, interestingly, you've got Foster, Clute, Douglas and Robbie, who have all got 16-lap-old tyres, Carl. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to watch those guys. You've got a couple of guys moving in now in Purnell, Bishopmore. I mean, those guys are pretty quick, and they're all starting to come on top of these other guys. They've all got fresh tyres, and maybe that's playing out.
It may well have been worth popping into the pits for that last caution. Although the cars might make it to the end, the fresh tyres might be the winning factor for this.
Well, Phil Otto's got fresh tyres, and yeah, we just saw Jason Martin just circulating slowly along the wall on the top line there, and yeah, unfortunate for Jason.
Yeah, he's just going to be trying to keep it out there, just trying to get some championship points out of this now. It's basically a it's pretty much just damage control mode for him.
Yeah, well, he'll still pick up some points because there's been quite a few others that have suffered an unfortunate fate tonight. The Daytona curse, I guess, again. But
well, Jason Martin's he's in the 18th position, and considering the amount of damage on that car in the crash, it could be a lot worse for him. Aidan Dodman's sitting in 16th, with Danny G sitting in 17th.
Well, it's still Jason Martin. That's still 26 points he can pick up. So
yes, and that's it. Every point helps. You want to have more points than the other driver at the end of the championship. That's the thing, and you can only do that by scoring these points. And even when you're sort of sitting towards the back of the grid, every little point is important because you never know when you're going to need it. As Ashley Lear had before, you don't know when you're going to get an engine going out for you. Things like that can happen at any time.
Yeah, and just looking here now, Chris Purnell. He seems to have come out of nowhere. Didn't even qualify, started at the back. He's now sitting up behind Dave Douglas on the outside line, and looks to be challenging for the lead. Looks very racy at the moment.
Yes, he's looking very good, actually. Purnell's really got a good car underneath him. And the top three cars are all cars that stopped for that last pit stop as well. So those fresh tyres are definitely helping out.
Yeah, that's why I called it earlier. I thought, whilst you say tyre wear's not a problem at Daytona, I don't care who you are, fresh tyres always feel better than old tyres anywhere.
And that's absolutely true. You're always going to want fresher tyres than older tyres. As a racing driver, you always want the stickiest possible tyre, the freshest possible tyre as well. And it does just help that, tiny little bit. We're talking 0.1 of a second differences here, and fresh tyres can definitely make that advantage for you.
Yeah, just watching here now, Purnell just lost the help of Dave Douglas and kind of got hung out to dry a little bit there, and started to drop back a little, unfortunately, and couldn't get down into the low line.
But he is just getting back up there now. Actually, that high line's again working for the cars, just on the first and second corners. But once it gets to the tri-oval, that outside line is struggling a little bit more. Edward Foster's still hanging on quite well in the pack. He's the first car that's on old tyres.
Yeah, so who's working together here, Carl? I mean, I'm watching Phil Otto sitting behind Dave Douglas. Chris Burnell's teammate Stephen Williams was caught up earlier in the earlier wreck. Yeah, it looks like a lot of guys uneasy. I don't know. No one's really happy with where they're settled at the moment, by the looks of it to me.
No, that's it. Nobody's really in a happy position right now. They've a lot of people. Well, everybody's really lost that teammate. They've lost that person, their draft partners, things like that. Phil Otto's definitely doing well with Dave Douglas, sort of keeping relatively close to him, and they're getting a decent bit of drafting going on. Although you have to wonder how comfortable Dave Douglas is there.
Yeah, he seems to be doing okay there right now. Look, I'll be honest with you, the surprise for me is Joshua Carroll-Walden being up there after being involved in an earlier incident where he ran up into Todd Maxwell. Yeah, he's got to be the drive of the last half a race, if you ask me.
He has, and he also got caught up in that accident with Martin as well. I saw he got caught up in that pack. You know, he's basically, I think, been involved in every single accident tonight, and he's still doing well.
He's currently sitting in fourth, so you can't argue with that, can you?
No, that's it. And Phil Otto there with Purnell just having a little bit of paint swapping on the doors, just going through some of the corners.
Yeah, it's. I think by the looks of it, it seems to me though that everyone's trying. Oh, 3 wide. What could possibly?
And as you say that, Phil Otto's just gone out from Dave Douglas, so he's sitting in the high line. And there it is. That was a big shot there.
No, managed to. Oh, who's that that just speared off to the side of the track there?
Oh, I couldn't see. Phil Otto got caught up in there.
And it hasn't pulled out a caution either, so...
No, everybody managed to keep hold of it there, but a lot of people have dropped back. Matthew Clute got caught up pretty badly in that as well.
Yeah, got a replay up here. Just trying to see who got into who, actually.
It looked like Phil Otto just drifted up the track slightly and just caught...
Chris Burnell out, yeah.
Burnell, yeah.
Yeah, kind of had nowhere to go, and then they bumped again. And who's that's spearing off to the side of the track there? That's Josh Michelmore, minding his own business, having a great run through from the back. And he was just an unfortunate victim of that one. But he doesn't seem to have hit too much. Yeah, it looks like he's come back on again, but he's lost a fair bit of ground in the lead pack, unfortunately. But
yeah. Okay.
So we've got Riley Curtis drivers 1, 2, 3 on the bottom line. Well. We'll talk about teammates before, Carl.
Yeah, it's all come to the Riley Curtis team there, really. With the pack as it was beforehand, it was making it very hard for that team because they were all in separate positions. But basically, with the pack thinning out there, just with that small incident, it's really coming well for them.
Well, we've got Matt Danson now in third in the 30 car, bright green car, you can't miss him. And you got Chris Burnell there just trying to hang on to the draft. He's got a little bit of damage on the car, but he seems to be just hanging in there right now and slowly reeling that top 4 cars in.
Yeah, he's managed to keep it into the draft, thankfully. You can sort of see the speed difference he's got. He's catching them at a great pace now. Just as you get further and further into that draft, you're just going to go faster and faster. And then you, of course, have to be careful not to go too fast, because sometimes you'll just go straight into the back of another driver.
Yeah, so you've got Dave Douglas, Edward Foster and Riley Curtis, 1, 2, 3 there. It's interesting that Matt and Chris are trying to go to the outside line.
Yeah, it does look like possibly Chris and Matt Danson might work together and try and get that outside line working. Edward Foster there in second is still on those older tyres. He's pretty much the only person in that top spot that's on those old worn tyres now.
Yeah, well, we've only got 10 laps to go too, so I don't think fuel's going to be the issue that we thought it might have been earlier. But the other thing to consider too is 3 cars at line of stern are always going to be faster than 2. So I'm surprised that these guys are trying to hang on the outside. Both of them have got damage. I would have thought that they'd just drop in behind Riley Curtis for now maybe and just try to keep just try and keep their draft for now until
That's
probably
it. But they're
4 or
doing
5
well.
again.
They're doing well to just keep sort of to the side. They're not too far away from the lead. Although Chris Parnell's just dropping back again a little bit. Obviously, there's probably a little bit of damage to the car that's just making it a little bit harder to drive. But if you can keep that outside line running well and keep the speed up, it means you might get that slingshot off on that last corner and possibly get the win.
Yeah, see, the other thing to think too is with a little bit of front end damage, your car's going to overheat faster in the draft than it would have without damage. As we saw with Ashley Lear, you know, it's going to happen if you sit in the draft too long. So I'm guessing that Purnell and Danson are just trying to keep some fresh air there.
That's it. And one of the other things to talk about here is with the Riley Curtis team. Their cars are pretty much still looking like pristine cars. They're looking like they're just brand new off the production line. They haven't been caught in any of those crashes. They've managed to keep their cars clean. They've not sort of caught any major damage, which is going to help the cars quite a lot because they're not going to overheat quite as quickly. It means they're going to be running smoother through the air. It's going to be a big help.
Yeah, you pretty much nailed it there. We said it at the start. Stay out of trouble. Get to the last, 10, 15 laps, you'll have half a chance. If you get caught up in anything, you won't have a chance. And there you go, you've got 3 cars running line of stern right now without, too many scratches on them. I think Edward was involved in that second one, wasn't he?
He just got a slight clip, I think, if I recall correctly, but it wasn't too bad.
Oh, a bit of lap traffic here that causing. They're fine.
Yeah, there was a little moment there. It looked like Chris Purnell might have got caught up with those lap cars, but it's gone past okay.
So my question here is, Dave Douglas has been in the lead now for a few laps. Edward Foster's been sitting behind him, and Riley Curtis behind him. We've seen what sitting in the draft can do. There's 7 laps left to go. What do you think will play out here? You think it'll be team strategy where they'll just stay line of stern like this? Or do you think we'll see somebody probably get to the last couple of laps and go, you know what? Nah, this is mine.
Look, honestly, you're going to be best off trying to do the strategy right now. I don't think Edward Foster's good enough to get the win. I don't think he'll get that slingshot to get the win. Those tyres are just getting a little bit older. I think Dave Douglas will just have that better run off the corner. With Riley Curtis sitting in 3rd spot as well, he could possibly get a decent draft and try and go for the win. But ultimately, it's better to have all 3 cars finish in the top 3 than smash it and lose all of those cars, have them all crash out. I think the focus is going to be trying to keep Matt Danson behind them, just trying to sort of stop him from getting too close. They're going to try and get that draft. They might possibly go for, just go for a last lap hurrah and see who can get the win. But I think Dave Douglas has got this one. He's looking good at the moment. I'll just go with that.
Yeah, you have to think so, don't you? The only reason I ask, though, is because sitting in 2nd place is Edward Foster, and at the moment, he's sitting in 6th in the championship. He's only, 6, 7, 8 points behind Matthew Clute. So, I don't know. It's Riley Curtis sitting 9th in the points at the moment, a few points back from Edward. I don't know. See, Chris Purnell's up there with them as well. It's going to be all about whether they're already playing championships or whether they're playing team.
Yes, and look, racing drivers, people that race, they don't like coming in second, they don't like losing. So, ultimately, you might just see that coming into play. But with the championship rivals going out of the race, with everybody falling back so far, you could see them possibly... You would see Edward getting that last corner and just getting past. Those championship points would help an awful lot, especially with pretty much the top 5 in the championship being out of contention.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, with Matt Danson and Chris Purnell hanging off their rear doors at the moment, I don't really think you're going to see too much change unless someone makes a mistake, because any attempt to try to stage this one for one or the other may result in letting one of those 2 through. Yes,
that's another thing as well, is when you do try and let teammates get past, you've got to try and slow down a little bit, and when you've got somebody as close as Matt Danson at the moment and Chris Purnell sitting there as well, it can easily end up you losing that race.
Yeah, big time. So, well, we've got 4 laps to go. It's been entertaining, as Daytona always is. I suspect we're going to watch them cross the line pretty much as they are. I would have thought, though, that they may have tried to just, I don't know, just pull away on that low line, but it's interesting, they're not pulling away. It's strange.
I think they're just unable to pull away, really. That high line's working out really well for them. And you know, unless they start doing some really close bump drafting, which I don't think they're going to do, it's not worth taking that risk. Dave Douglas has really got a good lead at the moment, and I don't think Matt Danson's going to be able to really get ahead of him currently. So it's really just going to be a play for who gets second place. Although saying that, Matt Danson's just got a decent little run now, with Purnell just behind him, and he is starting to climb up just a little bit close to the leader.
Yeah, I don't know that he's got enough, though. Again, that inside draft with 3 cars, it should be faster, but it's not. Well, it is, but not by as much as you'd think. And Danson's carrying front end damage too, as is Purnell. So, I don't know. Look, I think Douglas has got this. Yeah, we've got 2 to go. We'll do it next time over the line. I don't think that anything's going to change, unfortunately. No,
Purnell's just dropped off quite a bit there as well.
Yeah, I think he's settled back to take the points, Carl. I think that would be my bet. He needs some fresh air in the car.
Just get the car to cool down a little bit. One person that is sitting really pretty at the moment for the points is Matthew Clue. He's sitting in 6th currently, with Joshua Carroll-Walden just behind him. Again, Joshua Carroll-Walden's just had a fantastic race. He seems to be involved in every accident, yet he's still up there.
And it looks like he's just passed Matthew Clute, actually. So Joshua's moved up to 6th, and Clute's dropped back to 7th.
And that's going to help with Joshua Carroll-Walden's championship as well. He was sitting 10th before this race. There's going to be some big changes, I think, in the championship.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it, doesn't it? So, as we come down to...
The Riley Curtis team have just sort of all fallen into formation now, freely going sort of single file now, with Matt Danson sitting behind them.
Yeah, I'd say Matt Danson just used up his tyres trying to hang out there on the outside line there, and he was breaking the air for Purnell for quite a while, so I'd say his tyres just aren't as good as they were, and he needs that draft. But, here we go.
Yeah, we'll see if anyone's going to take a brave moment. Here we go.
Being the last lap, it was always going to get interesting to see if... look, no, I don't think anyone can really challenge Douglas, to be honest. I think he's just got this. They'll cross the line as they are, as Douglas, Foster, Curtis, Danson and Purnell, I think.
Yeah. And
that's exactly how they've gone.
Yes, a great win there for Dave Douglas. He made up 18 positions at the end of the race there. Actually, interestingly enough, 18 positions seems to be the top 2 there, because Edward Foster also made up 18 positions from the start. Yeah,
so Dave Douglas, 18 positions. Wow, that's huge. And Edward Foster as well. Riley Curtis up 11 positions, Matt Danson 20, Purnell 20. Yeah, they're just huge gains, and these guys all started further back. Interesting. Yeah,
it looks like starting from the back really helped out.
Yeah. Well, we talked about that earlier, didn't we? It was, which way do you go here? Right?
That's it, and it was a real shame for Gavin Sadler. He had a great qualifying, but that sort of that early crash really took a lot of players out, and it really did shake up the field quite a lot. Our championship leaders, Hayden Dodman finished 16th, with Jason Martin in 19th position.
Wow. Well, interesting to see how the points come up with that one. It's just watching Dave Douglas right now do his burnouts, having a bit of fun.
Punish the transmission a bit.
What a result for Riley Curtis Racing, though, yeah?
Absolutely, a great result for the Riley Curtis Racing team there. They kept out of trouble all race. That's the thing. They managed to not get damaged for the whole race. Riley Curtis, Edward Foster and Dave Douglas all kept a clean race going, and of course there's a bit of luck involved in that, but they all managed to just keep the cars out of contact. They avoided a lot of the crashes as well. So a really good race by all three of them.
Yeah, it was a bit of a masterclass for Riley Curtis Racing tonight. So, look, while Dave's doing his burnout there, we might see if we can jump in and have a word with him. He might still talk to us before he pulls up. We might pull him into the room there and have a bit of a chat. Dave Douglas, it's Brett Douglas from Performance E-Streaming. How are you? Congratulations.
Hey guys, thanks. Pretty pumped about that.
I can imagine.
Look, I imagine you are. You've broken the stranglehold on the wins so far from Hayden Dobman and Jason Martin as well. So, you're finally given us a third name on the list.
That's good. That's good. I owe some of it to the boys from the RCD team, especially Edward. We had a bit of a deal. He sort of owed me one, so he paid that, and we're good to go.
It looked like you're fairly well in control of it anyway. I couldn't see him getting past you towards the end.
Yeah, I suppose we were all on the radio together, and I think if we tried to fight each other, we would let the other guys back in. So we sort of got a pack, try not let the other guys in, and split us up, and then just run our own race, and it paid off.
Yeah, so what was the strategy? I noticed both yourself and Edward Foster both started towards the rear grid. Was that intentional, or was that just the way it worked out for you in qualifying?
Nah, it was a boat in qualifying. It had no speed. I don't know why I ended up back there, but I did. So the plan was then to just sort of drop back and hang back, and luckily we did, because we checked up a couple of times and a couple of those wrecks. And then after the first caution, I lost the draft. I don't know if you guys saw, but I went a lap down.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
And then somehow I got back, and then managed to avoid the next wreck, and ended up in about P5, I think. And yeah, Bob's your uncle.
Well, yeah, Bob's always a good uncle to have in those situations, isn't he? I mean, your car doesn't look like it's got a scratch on it.
Yeah, I don't know how. There's a few tight calls there. I've got to go back and watch the replay how I made it through them. But yeah, no, she's clean as a whistle.
Oh, look, no, congratulations, Dave. Well done. I think that might be your first Thunder win, isn't it?
Second, I got a win in Kentucky in a truck series before it upgraded to these B-class Xfinity cars. But they're all good. They're all memorable.
Well, congratulations. It's your first one this year and the first one in this Thunder series as it stands now. So, well done. Riley Curtis, 1, 2, 3. Wow, it doesn't get more dominant than that, does it?
Yeah, and we got the last restrictor place to win, I think, too, with Edward. So now it's good to lock out the podium as well. And as I said, couldn't have done it without those two boys.
No, well done, mate. Carl, any words for Dave?
Yeah, hey Dave, Carl, how you going?
Hey, good, mate.
Yeah, so absolutely great race by you there. Just avoiding the accidents, all three of you, with Edward Foster and Riley Curtis as well. It looked like you managed to avoid every single wreck there. Was it sort of, were you keeping an eye out for the wrecks? Were you just expecting to sort of see those wrecks coming and just try and avoid them the best you could?
Yeah, basically, I think Daytona and Talladega is a bit of my bread and butter. I love coming here. I like to rate myself highly here, and I just know what to look for when they're racing up front and too wide. And I guess, I can sort of pick it before it happens, but luckily tonight I wasn't in it.
That's it. It was good to see you not get involved in those. So an absolutely brilliant win, and as Brett was saying, just a fantastic dominance by the Riley Curtis team there.
Yeah, pretty pumped about that actually. I wasn't sure how it was going to go, because I know that Matt Danson and Chris Purnell were challengers and also on the outside for a few laps there. But I think they had damage, and I know that Chris had engine trouble, I think, coming sort of to us the last couple of laps, and from then we just sort of pushed on.
Okay, yes, we did see him dropping off, and that was actually a bit of a problem. Ashley Lear had his engine blow on him. Were you finding temperatures to be a bit of a worry out there tonight?
Actually, I did. Like in practice, I noticed the temps come up a lot quicker than normal. So yeah, I blew the engine in practice, I think, just to see how far it would go. And yeah, definitely. So the temperatures are up, definitely.
Well, that's it. And luckily you were in the front of the pack for most of the end of the race there, so I imagine temperature wasn't too much of an issue. But again, congratulations on that win.
Yeah, perfect, guys. Yeah, no, thanks again.
Thanks, Dave. Well done, mate. All right, so we'll do a quick recap, and then we'll catch up with a couple of the other guys. Looks like we've got Edward Foster and Riley Curtis, who are better itching to have a quick word at some point, and Chris Purnell. So we'll see if we can get through them. But yeah, so Carl, can we run through the recap, please?
Absolutely. So, as we said, just up in front there, we have Dave Douglas taking the win, starting 18 places down from his original position, getting a great win there. Edward Foster getting second, and Riley Curtis in third. All Riley Curtis racing there, Riley Curtis Design Motorsport, managing to get the top three locked out there. Matt Danson finishes in fourth place with Chris Purnell in fifth, and as we heard, Chris Purnell apparently had some engine trouble, so really good result for him there. Matthew Clute manages to get sixth position with Joshua O'Carroll-Warden in seventh. They're going to be moving up a bit on the championship leaderboard as well, so they're going to be very happy with that result. Todd Maxfield dropped down to eighth position after the sort of restart. He was looking relatively good for a short time. Nicholas Walsh managed ninth, with Mirko Dunstack managing 10th place. And then outside of the top 10, we have James Robbie in 11th, Daniel Stevens managing 12th, Norman Clark finishing 13th. A good result for him considering the amount of damage he was carrying. Josh McLemore managing 14th, Nicholas Shields 15th, Hayden Dodman in 16th place, an odd position for him to be in, with Danny G in 17th, Darren McKenzie 18th, Jason Martin in 19th, Stephen Williams in 20th. And sort of rounding out, James Foster in 21st, Phil Otto 22nd. Phil Otto really dropped down. He was looking very good in contention for a fair bit of that race. James Foster, of course, getting a lot of damage from that first wreck. Ashley Lear, 23rd. And as we go down, Jackson Callow, 24th. Aaron Dillon, 25th. Gavin Saville, the pole position winner in 26th. Roger Clark, 27th. And Mitchell McLeod, 28th.
Yeah, a few surprises there, a few hard luck stories there, and a few championship points changing stories there. Again, we've got a long way to go, but gee whiz, you don't want to have rounds like that, do you?
No, that's it. It's going to be a big effect on the championship, I feel. It's going to really shake up things. And it's nice to see a third name on the wing board this year as well.
It is. He broke the stranglehold. Speaking of that, we might pull Riley Curtis down for a quick chat. I'm sure he's pretty keen and pretty excited after getting a 1, 2, 3. So I'll just grab Riley. Riley Curtis, Brett Douglas from Performance E Streaming. How are you?
Bloody pretty happy after that.
A 1, 2, 3 for Riley Curtis Racing. Got to feel good, yeah?
Hey, absolutely ecstatic. I believe it's the first team 1, 2, 3 in ANZCAR, so pretty happy.
Oh, look, you guys, yourself and Dave and Edward just seem to work so well up there at the front, and we assumed you'd be on the radio together. Were there any team orders or team plans, or was it just how it panned out at the end?
There was lots of chat making sure that we kept the other boys at bay, but I think once we lined up there, the plan was to just push Dave through to the lead. I think we both owe him a favour from previous wins anyway, so just returning it there.
Oh, fantastic stuff. It was great to see, and it was good to see a different name at the top of the tree. Not that we don't like seeing Hayden Dodman and Jason Martin there, but it's broken that stranglehold as well on the wins. So, yeah, did you have any real trouble through the race, Riley, or was it fairly clean for you? Because all three cars looked pretty clean, I must say.
In the second, or actually the last caution, sorry, I had a car sitting up on my bonnet at one point, but I somehow got minimal damage. And then in that last little incident that split the field, I got slammed pretty hard from the right-hand side, but being behind Edward and Dave, it didn't seem to affect it too much, aero-wise.
So maybe some help from some fortunate netcode there.
I still ended up with damage on that right-hand side from it. It just hopefully was more in the side, not the front, which seems to affect you a lot more.
Yeah. Look, no, it's a fantastic result for the team. It was great to watch, and yeah, it just seemed dominant to me. So, Carl, you got anything for Riley?
Yeah, first of all, congratulations, Riley. Really good result there for your team and for yourself, of course.
Yeah, two top fives in a row. I've just started to come a bit better this season after a pretty shocking start, so I'm pretty keen to see what keeps coming.
That's good. Hopefully it will just keep going up and up and up for you.
Hopefully, wouldn't mind getting a big win next to my name at some point this season, so be good.
Well, with teamwork like you were showing tonight, then a win could absolutely come for you. Did you have any plans before the start of the race for getting the team up there?
A lot of it, we just tried to stay out of trouble. Like, even when we were still with that front pack, I was talking to Edward and said, just sort of hang back a bit. A few of the boys early in the race were throwing some moves around. Certainly did not want to get involved, so just tried to hang back that tiny bit and stay clean.
Yeah, it definitely showed. Basically, your 3 cars looked the cleanest out of the field, pretty much.
Yeah, that's all you can hope for at the end there. I think it helped us. Talking to Chris, he said that his car was running quite hot, so he wasn't able to help Matt out on the outside, which definitely helped us. Yeah,
actually, that's something a lot of drivers have said, and we've noticed with Ashley Lear, his engine let go of him. Were you finding temperatures to be quite hard to manage when you were running in that sort of pack formation?
Not really. I think running that couple of tenths off the car in front instead of right up under their wing certainly feeds fresh air into it. So when Chris did say in the race, we heard him over the radio say to Matt that his car was getting hot, and I said to the 2 boys in front of me, I'm nowhere near hot here, so let's go, let's push.
Oh, that is good to hear. It just sounds like your cars were just running perfectly tonight. Well, almost perfectly. And, of course, the drivers are a big aid to that. So, yeah, an absolutely fantastic result. And thank you for giving us a fantastic race there.
Yeah, thanks for putting the broadcast on. It's always a good piece to go back and watch afterwards. I make sure I do it each race, so it's always good. Hopefully we put a good show on for the fans. And big shout-out to the Preece family. Doing it a bit tough lately, so hopefully we put a bit of a smile on their face tonight.
That's it. Thank you so much for that, Riley.
No worries. Thanks, boys.
All right. Yeah, so I guess we're running towards the end here now, so I don't think we'll pull anyone else down for tonight, although is there anyone you really wanted to talk to, Carl?
Not overly. Guess who have we got in the green room at the moment?
Yeah, we've got Chris Purnell and Edward Foster there.
Yeah, probably grab them and just quickly for a couple of words.
Have a quick word with Edward first. Make it 1, 2, 3 for Riley Curtis Racing. Edward Foster, Brett Douglas from Performance E-Streaming. Riley Curtis, 1, 2, 3. How's it feel?
Pretty damn good, mate. Pretty damn good, actually.
A different name atop the winners list today as well. It's broken the stranglehold. How was your race? You seem to have gotten caught up in that second one, I think it was, wasn't it?
Well, I didn't actually, quite fortunately, I didn't actually get caught up in any of it. Managed to avoid just about everything. I think in the last wreck I might have got a very, very small touch. But apart from that, it was, sort of a lot of wreck avoidance and those kind of things. And each pit stop, I was just, trying to hit the marks and make sure I could gain some spots. I managed to gain spots on pit lane every single time. And then it was a case of just pushing Dave home. But obviously part of me wanted to go for the win there, but having all 3 cars lined up like that and remembering how he pushed me home at Talladega when he probably could have had a go at the win, I owed it to him. So, yeah, more than happy to come home second. It was just, yeah, it's awesome. It's really, really awesome.
Yeah, no, it looked good out there. It was a fairly dominant finish. 3 cars that were fairly clean. Everybody else can't say the same, unfortunately. And I guess that's why the 3 of you are at the front. I mean, you avoided the trouble and the carnage, and it came through for you. So qualifying, yeah, you started a fair way back. Was that intentional, or was that just? Dave said his car was just a boat in qualifying, and he ended up there through no plan of his own. Was it the same for you, or was it just a bit of a plan to hang back?
No, look, if I've got the ability to sort of, hit a qualifying lap that accurately for the position I want to start, then I'm in the wrong job. But no, it certainly wasn't intentional. It was just a bad lap. That's all there was to it. So once that happened, I was sort of down with a couple of the other boys. I think I was down there with Riley and so on. So we were sort of looking to just sort of give the pack a bit of space because we saw what some of the guys were doing ahead of us. We didn't really like the look of it. So we kind of hung back, took our time, gained spots on pit road, and then made sure we were there at the end.
Well, it's interesting you say that because out of the top 5, you all came from basically the back of the pack.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, we could see a lot of the stuff that was going on up ahead of us. There are a couple of guys up there who seemed a little less comfortable running in packs 2 and 3 wide. So it was just one of those things where we just had to sort of hang back. It's hard to sort of control yourself when you're doing that, watching everybody racing there ahead of you. But on this particular night, it really seemed like the right way to do it. So that's what we did.
Well, it certainly worked out well, and it's worked out well for Riley Curtis Racing and Dave Douglas especially. I did speculate on that last couple of laps whether there was going to be team orders, whether there'd be frantic chatter on the radio, or whether someone would just get a bit of clean air and say, "Nah, I want this." But no, you've answered that question well, and Dave deservedly won it. So well done to Riley Curtis Racing. The 3 of you did a great job, and congratulations. Is there anyone you want to thank?
Just actually, obviously apart from thanking the team and everything else, just wanted to, I guess, remember that tonight's the Wayne Preece Memorial race, having, obviously, he's passed away earlier on in the week, and from all reports, he was a top bloke and will be sadly missed. So I just hope that what we're able to put on tonight in terms of the race, and obviously the salute that went on beforehand, was a fitting tribute. I just hope it's something that the family and friends are happy with, and that they realise that we're all sort of out here thinking of them, and everybody on the track was thinking of them tonight, and just all the love and support to them. So
yeah, no, congratulations, mate. The team took out the Wayne Preece Memorial 200, and it was done in great fashion, and it was good to see that at the start. It was something you don't see too often, and it's all about Wayne, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Anyway, thank you. Have you got anything for Edward there, Carl?
Yeah, great result there for the team there, and a good result for yourself, Edward.
Thanks.
But I just wanted to ask, with that last caution, many drivers popped in for the pits just to get some fresh tyres and probably top up the fuel. You stayed out there. Was that sort of a bit of a brave move, do you think?
No, look, it was intentional from the beginning. Won't give too much away in that regard because it's one of the reasons we were sort of up there, but suffice to say it was definitely intentional.
That's good to hear. You managed to keep out of trouble for the whole race, and I think you were the only car that didn't really get into any trouble through that whole race. It's just a really great position there. A really great finish for yourself, and also a really good finish for yourself for the championship as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite tight in that section. It always seems to be, and when you do these series, I've done a few of them now. You've got the really top level guys like Dodman and Martin and Purnell on the road course is very, very quick as well. I seem to occupy the group behind that, but there's a whole lot of drivers who sit in that group like right behind those guys. And it can be any of us on any particular night that finishes ahead of the other one. It's very tight. The points sort of reflect that. It's definitely keen. Probably looking forward with a couple of my likely to be weaker tracks coming up, that we're able to pull in some good points tonight and hopefully hang on to a decent position. So eyes are on that table, and definitely got to be thinking about it for the rest of the season.
I can imagine, especially with Dodman, Martin and Leah having a pretty poor result for their usual standards. It's going to move you up a little bit in the championship. Just one last question, really. Again, just from Ashley Lear, he had he had engine problems, of course, and I think Chris Purnell has also had engine trouble as well. Were you finding temperature to be okay out there for yourself?
I was absolutely fine, no problem. So I was surprised to see Ash blow up. I wasn't aware if he had any damage or anything like that, or if he'd just been tucked in behind another car for too long and got a bit hot. But I was definitely surprised to see him go, and I could see in my mirrors the amount of damage that Purnell was carrying. So I wasn't that surprised to hear that he had engine dramas. But as far as the three of us, we were no problem.
That's good to hear. And again, fantastic result for the team there and for yourself, and just a great race. Thank you for putting on a good performance.
Thanks very much.
All right. Look, love to get to some more people, but of course we're going to have to wrap this up shortly. Look, Carl, great race. Threw up some interesting interesting results. A bit of a change to the championship. Next round, we head to Kentucky for 100 laps of the famed oval.
Yeah, a completely different sort of oval format for the next race, and again, that's going to change a lot of people's driving style, and a lot of people are going to, need to sort of drive a little bit differently for that one. It's going to put things up a little bit, and of course, with the championship now being so a little bit sort of changed with those top runners being out of this race, we could see some people starting to think a little bit more for the end of the championship.
Yeah, well, it's roughly the halfway point, so yeah, it's I guess they're going to have to start thinking about it. But anyway, so great to see a 1, 2, 3 for Riley Curtis. Great way to honour Wayne Preece and the Wayne Preece Memorial 200 here at Daytona. That's the super speedway out of the way. I don't think we actually have another one there, do we? No, we don't. Apart from Indianapolis. So anyway, that's a bit much later in the championship. So look, yep, that's about it from us. Yeah, on to Kentucky.
Yeah, on to Kentucky next. Thank you ever so much, everyone, for watching, and thank you, of course, for the drivers. And also one last shout out for just Wayne Preece and his family. Again, going to be missed, obviously, and hopefully the 777 can get a better position next time and get a good shout out for him.
Yep. All right, so we'll see everybody next time at Kentucky. Thanks, Carl, and good night.
Thanks, Brett, and have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Clear? Beautiful.
I hope so, anyway.
If not, they're going to get this fantastic chatter after. Yeah, I was actually having a couple of hiccups on iRacing. A few times the whole field just disappeared off